Hello, students, and welcome to my English class. Today, we shall read, understand, and appreciate the second part of the poem, Lochinvar, written by Sir Walter Scott. Before that, let's recapitulate the first two fourth stanzas we learned in the previous class. Lochinvar was a brave knight of Scotland. He rode to Netherby Hall because Ellen, the girl he loved, was getting married to a laggard. The bride's father received him with his hand on his sword to fight Lochinvar. He asked Lochinvar whether he came to attend the wedding or to have a war with them. But Lochinvar convinced him that he had just come there to attend the wedding party. Let's proceed. Stanza 5. Open your textbooks and as I read, follow the stanza in your text. The bride kissed the goblet, the knight took it up, he quaffed off the wine and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand, oh, a mother could bar. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. Children, can you identify the rhyming words from the stanza? Yeah, first and second line, up, cup, third and fourth line, sigh, I, bar, Lochinvar. You are right, underline them. Let's identify the repetitive words. Are there any words which are repeated in these 6 lines? We have the conjunction and there repeated, underline it, and we have the word looked. She looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh. Looked to are repeated here. I'll ask you a few questions. Answer my questions. Who is the bride here and who is the knight? The bride is Ellen and the knight is Lochinvar. What did the mother do? Mother tried to stop them from dancing. Now tread we a measure. Who asked this or who said this? This was said by Lochinvar. Let's go through the new words. What is the meaning of the word quaffed? Quaff is to drink something quickly or in large quantity. So quaffed off the wine means he drank the wine quickly. What is the meaning of the word measure? Measure is a slow and stately dance. So these are the 2 new words in this stanza. Let's go listen to the explanation. In this stanza, the poet tells us the manner in which Ellen expressed her love towards Lochinvar. She kissed the goblet that Lochinvar was to drink wine from. Goblet is a wine glass. Her eyes were filled with tears. She blushed when looking at him with love, but sighed as she thought of her helpless condition. Now here the bride expresses her love towards Lochinvar by giving him the glass of wine and kissing it. And there is an expression of happiness as well as sadness in her eyes. She's happy that he came there, but sad that she was going to marry a man who was a laggard, who was a coward. She might have shed tears thinking that the love she lost and the laggard she was going to marry. Lochinvar held Elaine's soft hand before her mother could stop. He requested Elaine to dance with him. Before mother could come and stop them, he asked Elaine to dance with him. Next stanza. So stately his form and so lovely her face, that never a hole such a galliard did grace. While her mother did fret and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume. The bride maidens whispered, "'Twere better by far to have matched a fair cousin with young Lochinvar." Children, quickly underline and identify the rhyming words. Face and grace, fume, plume, far, Lochinvar. You are right. Shall we give a letter to those rhyming words? In the first stanza, I told you that same rhyme words carries the same letters. Now, if I give face letter A, grace also is A because they are of same rhyming sound. Fume, flume, BB. Far, Lochinvar, CC. This rhyme scheme is followed throughout the poem. AA, BB, CC. Now, can you tell me some of the new words in the stanza? There are new words like you have a galliard, one, underline. Then you have the word called bonnet and flume. And we have the word there, you see the how the pronunciation of it were. We say twere, isn't it? Written by Walter Scott as twere, it were, better by far. What is the meaning of galliard? Galliard is a vigorous dance of two. Vigorous dance of two. A spirited dance. Bonnet is the hat and plume is a feather which is fixed to the, it is used in the feather worn as a ceremonial decoration. It's a showy feather worn as a ceremonial decoration. Bonnet is a type of headdress, round head covering. So he touched the bonnet and the plume, that is the headdress he wore, and the feather which the headdress decorated. Next, I'll ask you a few questions, children. What was the reaction of the mother and the father? Fret. Mother did fret and father did fume. Fret is here complained. Mother complained and the father was angry and restless. Fume is angry and restless. What was the reaction of the bridegroom? He stood dangling, correcting his, touching all the time his bonnet and plume. 'Twere better by far to have matched a fair cousin by young Lochinvar. Who said this? It was said by the bride's maidens. Let's move to the explanation. The two danced in pair with grace and filled the whole with their charming presence. Elaine's mother was nervous. Her father was furious at them, looking at them, dancing, and they were attracting the attention of the guests. The craven bridegroom stood there silently, holding his bonnet and plume. Prince found the match was perfect. They whispered to each other that Lochinvar and Ellen were made for each other. They appreciated the dance of the couple, Lochinvar and Ellen, and they started whispering to each other. They were impressed by the dance of the couple and they loved watching them. They were beautiful. They were beautiful. But father and the mother got angry and they were restless, and the bridegroom did not come to stop them. He didn't know what to do. He just was meddling with his cap and the feather. One touch to her hand and one word in her ear. When they reached the hall door and the charger stood near, so light to the croup, the fair lady he swung, so light to the saddle before her he sprung. She's won, we are gone, over bank, bush and scar, they'll have fleet steeds that follow, quotes young Lochinvar. Students, quickly identify the rhyming words. Year, near, swung, sprung, scarred, Lochinvar. Tell me the words which are repeated in this stanza. Identify them. One, and is repeated. So light to the, so light, you see, repeated words. And now you tell me the meanings from the textbook. You can open your textbook. They have given in the glossary there. What is the meaning of charger? Charger is the steed. In the first stanza, they had given steed. Charger, that is horse used in a battle. Scar is a steep rock. Croup is behind the saddle on the horseback. That is back of the horse. Saddle is the back of the horse or the leather seat for a rider on a horse. Saddle is a leather seat for a rider on a horse. Croup is the saddle on the horseback. Behind the saddle, that part is croup. Fleet steeds are swift horses. Scar is a steep rock. Steep rock. I hope you understood the meanings of all these words. Charger, scar, croup, fleet steeds. Who said this? She's one. Who said these words? She's one, we are gone. Young Lochinvar said this loudly. Now, let's go through the explanation. While dancing, Lochinvar whispered in Ellen's ears the plan of eloping, taking her away from the wedding hall. He cleverly guided her towards the hall door where his faithful steed, horse, was standing. Very lightly he lifted her up and put her on the horseback. He jumped onto the saddle. Lochinvar didn't waste any time because he knew that they would be followed. He swiftly galloped away. Thus the bride was won. They crossed the land, bank, bush and the rocks, but nobody saw them. There was mounting Greens of the Netherby clan, Fosters, Fenwicks and Musgraves, they rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing on Canopy Lee, but the lost bride of Netherby ne'er did they see. So daring in love and so dauntless in war, have ye e'er heard of gallant like young Lochinvar? Children, mark the rhymes. Clan, ran, lee, see, war, Lochinvar. Any words which are repeated? Yes, there is. So there, so daring, so dauntless, in. Now let's go to the meanings of the new words, which are the different clans. In this stanza, the writer, the poet Sir Walter Scott, is given the names of different clans supporting the lord of the Netherby clan. Names of the various clans supporting the lord of the Netherby clan. Can you identify the names? Greaves, Forsters, Fenwicks and Musgraves. These are the different clans who supported the father of Ellen, that is the lord of the Netherby clan. Canopy Lee is an open space in Scotland. They came searching for Lochinvar and Ellen, but they didn't get them. So who is called daring in love and dauntless in war? Who is a gallant young man, knight? That is Lochinvar. The whole, the poem, the stanza ends with a question mark. The writer wants to ask, the poet tells us whether have you seen or heard this kind of brave knight? Look at these words here, short form of never, never, ne'er, N-E-E-R, ne'er, never. And here you have you, have ye, have you ever heard? Have you ever heard? Now, this here also you have in the first line, it is among, written way is mung, isn't it? So that's the way the writer, the poet has written it. Now, let's go to the explanation of this last stanza. There was much confusion and anger after Lochinvar carried Ellen on the horseback. All the supporting clans, Greens, Forsters, Fenwicks and Musgraves quickly got into their horses. They raced and chased Lochinvar and Ellen, but never saw the lost bride of Netherby Hall again. Thus Lochinvar won Ellen for himself. The poem is lovely narration of everlasting love and admirable courage. All is fair in love and war is a saying, isn't it? Have you heard it? All is fair in love and war. The saying is true in the case of Lochinvar and Ellen. Lochinvar's brave deed was fair, as he deserved Ellen more than the cowardly bridegroom. And so the writer says that Lochinvar was a fair knight. He was a brave knight. There was never a knight like the young Lochinvar. This is proved in this poem. If they ask you a question, how did Lochinvar win Ellen for himself? How did he prove that he was daring in love and dauntless in war? What are the qualities of demonstrated by Lochinvar? You have to write the whole summary of the poem. And also there is a question, only the brave deserve the fair. Justify the statement. This also you can write the whole summary. So here it shows the bravery of Lochinvar, how they eloped and got married later. Here the qualities of Lochinvar identified are bravery, strength of mind, his brain and brawn. Brain and brawn. What is the meaning of brain and brawn here? Brain and brawn is mental intelligence and physical power. So he had that dynamic combination. What helped Lochinvar the most? His single-minded determination helped him. What does the poem signify? The poem signifies the true love that can be won by overcoming obstacles. This poem tells us that true love can be won by overcoming obstacles, and Sir Walter Scott has presented it by his beautiful narration of words. So while explaining the poem, I told you the repetitive words, rhymes, and the poetic or the musical words used in the ballad. So every way, this is a ballad. And here I would like to tell you, this ballad, this love story is for appreciation and understanding. We are, you, my dear students, are at the age of studying. You have to concentrate in your studies and extracurricular activities. The stories of love and romance are only for appreciation, or they are good in movies and novels. So let's enjoy them, but at the same time appreciate the writing, literature, written work of the various writers, but concentrate in our studies and extracurricular activities. So the main aim here, I hope you understood the poem. That is, the true love can be won by overcoming obstacles, and with single-minded determination, Lochinvar was able to win his love back. And the main qualities of Lochinvar were, he had that brains and brawn, that is his mental intelligence and physical power. So Scott further questions us whether the readers has ever heard a story of a gallant like young Lochinvar. That is a question. I have few questions. Figures of speech here. First one, through all the wide border, his steed was the best. This is the high figure of speech used here is hyperbole. Children, wide border, throughout the borders of Scotland and England, there was no horse equal to the horse of Lochinvar. This is an exaggeration used by the writer, isn't it? So we call it hyperbole. Second one, love swells like the Solway and ebbs like its tide. Here the comparison is between the river and love, tides of river Solway. It is used, comparison is made using the word like. It's a simile. Third one, her mother did fume and her father did fret. It should be, my dear children, and her father did fume. So mother did fret. So the sounds like her, mother, her, father, fume and fret, these are repetitive sounds. So it is repetition. It is called alliteration. If the sounds are repeated in a same line, it is alliteration. So the three figures of speech are hyperbole, simile and alliteration. This statements are given here. Try to understand and answer them in your notebook. You can refer the summary. Annotate. So stately his form and so lovely her face. Second one, she is one. Third, there was racing and chasing in Canopy Lee. How to write the annotation? First one, write the line and then write from which poem line is extracted and who is the poet. Second, you write the theme of the poem, and then last you can write the summary of that stanza. So I hope this is clear. This remaining stanzas are clear to you. Hope you understood the explanation also. Please learn it, and this is an important part for the SSLC exam also. Lochinvar comes for memorization, 3 marks or 4 mark question. Happy learning, children, and thank you for watching this video.